Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a nice and bright and sunny morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. Allergies going crazy right now because apparently spring has started. But as always, want to be wishing you well. Want to be wishing you the best of the best. Before we get started, I actually want to put out the message there. If you are an international tax expert or if you know your way around the accounting spheres, please reach out to me because I'm actually looking to bring on a part-time accountant onto my team. So with that said, let's get on to the actual analyses. Let's talk about some goddamn magic internet money and teleportation into the live scene right here, right now, as we take a look on the daily on good old Bitstamp. And as you can see, Bitcoin have a little bit of a sell-off yesterday, scaring everyone. But here's the thing, and I really want to keep it simple, and I've been getting a lot of messages about this. Is the dump starting? Is this the time to get bearish? Is this the time? Is this the time? Is this time? Whether it is or it isn't, my point is keep it simple. Keep it simple. There's a reason why I've been holding this long for so long, and that is because the trend has been up. The trend has been up on the daily and actually on the weekly now for quite some time. So the thing is, I would not be, I'd not really be considering any sort of reversal until we actually, set a lower high and a lower low. More importantly, the biggest thing right now is this blue 377 exponential moving average that you see right over here that I'm that I currently have my cursor over. This was major resistance on the breakout out of this ascending triangle that we looked at over the past, what was it, like 4 fucking weeks? Jesus Christ, man, it was 4 weeks stuck in that ascending triangle, but breaking out onwards and outwards after being held back by that. And I would imagine that would be strong support on the way down. So as long as Bitcoin holds that area, which is actually currently, I got this one wrong yesterday. I was saying 5,400. No, it's 53. It's about 53. Actually, 5,300 even. I'd say it's more appropriately about 5,350 where we wicked down to yesterday. As long as that area is defended, I do look at this as just just a pullback, bro. Even though it does look a little bit menacing over here, even though the volume on this rally is kind of falling off, I do want to keep it very simple because as long as this area is defended, there's no real reason to be looking for a major drawdown. Which yes, I am. That is the next big trade that I am looking for. A 30 to 40% drop down, but until we actually get some major signals, which have not happened just yet and are still, to be quite honest, a little bit far away from happening from the last time that I checked, there's no reason to front run these sorts of signals, in my opinion. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, just sharing with you exactly what I'm doing myself, and this is why I want to have that transparency. We're showing you that, hey, I am still holding this long right over here. Even though, even with that nice little sell-off yesterday, even with this rally starting to look a little bit in question, even with perhaps some bearish divergence in play as well. In fact, I would say that would you consider this bearish divergence? If we take out the low of yesterday at 53.72 on Bitstamp, yes, that will be confirmed as bearish divergence. And then I also want to see a closure below the blue 377 exponential, which was around 53.50, essentially where we wicked down to yesterday. So as long as Bitcoin's above there, I would be a little bit more lenient with it. However, the second that Bitcoin does confirm below those areas, does take out the low of yesterday, then I would consider that bearish divergence, and I'd also consider that the beginning of what I'm going to be talking about a little bit later in this video. So I really need to be very specific and very clear with what I'm kind of talking about, because the lower time frames, we've seen this a million times. The super low time frames right over here, where Bitcoin will paint a bear flag, paint some sort of a bearish formation, and it just barts out. It just barts up, right? Now, this is the thing. This is only akin to Bitcoin. Why does it happen in Bitcoin land? Probably because there's really not too many players in this game. So the lack of liquidity in the order books makes it really easy to have these kind of monstrous fake outs. But we've been seeing the same thing for the past year. Anyways, hourly, if I was just looking at this, yeah, I'd say bearish. We're basically putting on a descending triangle right now, and about have a target somewhere down around about 53.50. But remember, 53.50 is that support that I need to see, actually fully broken before looking for an actual big move on the higher time frames. That's the real move that I'm looking for, the next 30 to 40% move, not this next $50 move, which fair enough. If you want to trade that, you can trade that. Myself, I've not really been, I've really only been trading the daily recently, and that is, again, while I'll still be holding on to that position. But if we do actually start to take out that area and take out yesterday's low, then the daily will signal bearish divergence on the RSI, and this will be very significant bearish divergence between this point and this point, and back below the exponential and kicked out of the more critical zone. That would certainly imply a test all the way down to about 51.50. So keep your eyes on that, because that is certainly a tradable event. Another $200 down from the trigger point. Of course, I do want to check on the daily jewel. What's it doing? The daily jewel is actually kind of lining up right now. Now, if you have access to the jewel, this is an example of what a perfect sell signal can look like. Not only that, but we do have this going on right over here. this trend line, which we were kind of walking up for the past, what is it, like a couple months actually, since early March, we are kind of getting rejected from that as well. So overall, we do see some tentacles suggest that, we could very easily drop down through here. But understand that to me is not confirmed until we actually take out the low of yesterday and take out that 5350-ish area. Once that happens, and yes, I do look for a move back down to around 5150 to 5200-ish area. As you can see, the daily dollar golden cross is definitely coming incredibly close right now. That's the purple 200 and the green 55 exponential moving average right over here, which are kissing. They are damn close. They're inside of each other. They're saying, "Are you clean? Are you protected?" No, they're. But my point is that when you get these sort of crosses coming in, I really dislike it when price action is this far away, as you really want to see perfect. A perfect cross would have price action like right against the actual the actual moving averages. So to me, this actually offers up another another kind of signal on a pullback from here. Now the thing is though, if we were to pull back and get the gold, we will get the golden cross. At least in 2 days, as long as Bitcoin doesn't dump back below 4,800. But if we do get the golden cross, then the next big key is going to say, okay, does 5150 hold? Because if 5150 holds, I'm not going to be bearish as long as we're above essentially this yellow 21 exponential moving average, which is at 5150. So keep that in mind. This is kind of how I'm relating all these different time frames, which I know is getting a little bit confusing. So we'll go over it one more time. Lower time frames, yes. I mean, technically this would be a descending triangle, probably a target right here at about 5350 to 5330. Also going to be, if we actually do end up violating this current area at about 5400, this is going to start to be considered a swing failure pattern. So overall, that's going to incite the higher time frames then, namely the daily, with having continuations, confirming this as a local high and confirming our daily RSI bearish divergence, and also would further confirm the daily the daily total jewel cell, which usually pretty fucking powerful. Daily Stokes actually looking a little bit weak here as well. So if we do see that downwards momentum, likely to be a quick move towards 5150. We'll figure it out from there. However, if 5150 breaks, then we're likely to, at that point, yes, there is support lower at 4,900, but personally speaking, I do think that Bitcoin would come back down and test the 200 exponential, which is somewhere right around 4750-ish area. So keep that in mind. Again, until those things happen, though, still have to go with the former trend, as the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. And right now, it's technically still going. Looking at the 2-day diddle time frame right over here, we did open and close our first 2-day diddle above this purple 200 exponential moving average. That's very powerful. That's very impressive. We also do see 2-day Stokes still technically up, although they are in the more critical zone. I want to make it very clear that I am looking for that next big down move, but I don't want to front run this decision, because it could very easily be that Bitcoin, hits up to our next overhead target somewhere right around 57 or 58, which you could actually argue that we already got, and it kind of just got front ran a little bit. But this area fraught with peril, as we've seen in the past. This has been calling tops. Whenever the 2-day Stokes get in this area, typically it doesn't last too long before major massive dumps emerge from it. Going over here to the 3-day Stokes, same sort of thing. In fact, 3-day Stokes want to cross down right now, and that has been the caller of major massive drop downs. Again, for the past year, this was 20,000 in December 2017. Then we had this area right over here in May at 10,000 2018. Then we had this area right here at 8,400 in August 2018, all major massive dumps, about 30 to 40% moves off those guys. Obviously the 20,000 dump significantly more than that. But with regards to what we're looking at right now, we will be setting another 3-day dildo in stone on the 1st of May. Sorry, no, not the 1st of May, the 28th of April. So we just got a new one, is what I'm trying to say. So this is unconfirmed as of now, but you'd imagine that if we do take out, again, what was the area? 5,300 to 5,350. And I need to make it very clear that these are like not super exact. Like, don't take it to the exact dot. It's probably going to be like some sort of decimal place in there too. But my point is, if that area gets violated, we're probably going to see all the confluences between all of the lower time frames and then the higher time frames together, which is typically what does produce good trades or the big trades, and that's when I start to look for the next big move. As you can see, though, the 3-day the 3-day did get a close above the purple 200 exponential moving average yesterday, and today, where is that 200 exponential moving average coming in around? 5370. So around that 5350-ish area. Again, I don't use exact numbers, most importantly because I don't want to be seen as like a full-on fucking signals person. you have to have an art sign. What's up, Super Hoffman? Good to meet you, man. Good to meet you, Mr. Hoffman. So yes, I would be looking for this 200 exponential to be support. If the bullish case is going to hold and we do get a move higher into the, what is it, like 5,800, something like that. Something like that. Now, here's the big news, though. Here's big news for me, and that is this. The 3-day jewel. The 3-day jewel just got another tick, I believe, and the 3-day jewel has been perfect in calling all of the major tops and all the major bottoms in Bitcoin's market cycle history. Not the market cycle bottoms and not the market cycle tops, although it does get those, but it gets major tops and major bottoms more importantly. And man, I'm having an allergic attack right now. Holy fuck. This is annoying. Anyways, with regards to the jewel, there are a few things that I want to be aware of, and this is what kind of gives me conviction in looking for that next big 30 to 40% move, likely to the downside in this case. And that is, we need to see the jewel signal red in the background. That is the gatekeeper number one, and we can just go back and back test it during all these ones, which play out pretty fucking well. Again, we've done this a million times, but I'll just briefly do it. This first one right over here, about a 50% drop down, actually a little bit more than that. The second one right over here, coming off the parabolic rally, about another 79% drop down right over there. Another parabolic rally right over here in 2014. Another 67% drop down. Green signaled on the actual low of Bitcoin in 2015, by the way, called the low. And then right over here, coming out of our bear market cycle in that past one, 40% drop down from the jewel signal. Then we had this one right over here, another 41% drop down. And then this guy right over here at about 37% drop down. You do see that we kind of have a one-off right over here. This, if we go into the details of it, this was not a signal, although it actually did have about a 10% drop down. But even with a very weak signal, still having some, still playing out decently. 33% drop down right over here. Again, I'm sure that you probably already get it, but this guy right over here, another 36% drop down, and then of course our 2017 drop down right over there. And once again, we are signaling red. So here's the thing: just because it's signaling red, am I looking for a 30% drop down like right here, right now? No, there's something very specific that I'm looking for. I need to see, first things first, I need to see red being signaled in the background. Then I need to see the light blue oscillator get into the more critical zone above the 8 marker right here. And you can see in the past, it actually typically gets much higher than that. I mean, if I was to take like an average of it, it probably gets around to the 90 marker on the oscillator before it actually turns around. And then the third and final and most important piece is I want to see the light blue oscillator get a negative slope. Right now, do we have a negative slope? We don't have a negative slope. We technically still have a little bit of a positive slope. If Bitcoin does break down, it will get a negative slope. But what makes me apprehensive in making this call, and why I don't want to take this prematurely, is because usually when we see the light blue oscillator get into the more critical zone, it stays up there and it gets really fucking high into that region. In fact, the higher that it gets, the more that it implies the drop down will be. So if we were to turn around from this area, I suppose that would imply that the effect wouldn't be as critical. It might be on the 30% side rather than like a 60% side. But overall, my point is that, hey, the signal is formulating itself, but is it fully there? Fuck no. And this is so important, and something that I think something that I really struggled with when I first began trading, and I think that perhaps a lot of people out there struggle with this as well, and it's front running your own self. You see a signal and you feel like you can tell what's going to happen next. You think you're smarter than the market, and then what happens? The market says, nope, have a red dildo up your face, or in this case, a green dildo in your bunghole. So again, this is why I want to be very, very cautious with looking at this, but it is on the radar, and it does match up with all the other things that we're looking at, saying, hey, this is a time to be cautious. If Bitcoin does get another leg, it probably just sets up this a little bit better, to be fair. So I do want to be I do want to be agnostic in this range. There are very specific things that I'm looking for. The jewel being the most important one on the 3 days. So if you have access to the jewel, which by the way I keep on forgetting to talk about it. I'm actually going to be raising the price at the end of the month. So keep it secret. But when it comes down to it, if you have the jewel, that's what I'd be looking for. And still, this signal is premature, although it is, if we do turn down from here, if we even take out that 5350-ish area, I'd imagine that we probably do actually get a negative slope on this. Technically, though, it won't be confirmed, at least for another 3 days, because, well, we just got a new 3-day dildo. So confirmation, again, waiting for that is what is your best defense against, front running yourself and faking your own self out and just taking an unnecessary loss when you probably had the right idea for a trade. In the meantime, as we kind of spoke about before, I did say that the light blue oscillator does have a tendency to get quite deeper into this range, usually around a 90 marker. Right now we're at around an 82. So how much more damage can be done? That's what I'm really worried about. And that's why I don't want to scale into a short right here, and why I've kind of actually just been completely content holding long. So I do want to get that out, but of course, looking at the 3-day Stokes, they're kind of signaling a little bit of weakness. Looking at the 2-day Stokes, we're getting in the range that doesn't like to really stay in there for too long. Looking at the daily, actually looking weak right now. Looking at the daily bearish divergence, and I'm sure that the 2 days probably signaling a little bit as well. Do I consider that bearish divergence? Not yet. We have to check out the low of yesterday at 53.63 on Stamp. But if we can do that, then yes, this will be considered a local high, and that will be considered a bearish divergence. By the way, I also want to see this. I want to see the 2-day RSI take out the exponential. If that happens, that'll be a big signal as well. That'll be a big signal as well. The last time that we did that was 2017 December 2017 on the 17th. So that was quite literally, somewhere right over here, before the ultimate dooms drop. So again, this is why, I'm still waiting for this confirmation. It does look like it's probably going to be happening sooner rather than later. We do have an event coming up as well. We have good old consensus, which a lot of people will tell you that consensus is bullish because they're going to announce that Satoshi is coming back from the dead and he's going to be there. I don't know what he's going to do though, but you should buy some fucking Bitcoin. That's what he's going to say. He's going to say, you should buy some Bitcoin. Why? Just buy it, because I don't have any time to explain it to you. Anyways, my point is that these sorts of events typically get sold into, and this is something that if you're familiar with the stock market, you've seen most likely. I like to make the analogy with earnings reports, with forwards outlooks, with conference calls, all these sorts of news events, which typically are used to hype it up to get retailers, the less educated people involved, and then the more professional people have liquidity to dump into to fill their short bags. In this case, and of which we're actually, we're kind of in earnings seasons right now. By the way, a lot of stocks actually having some really phenomenal earnings. So stock market, man, is this going to be the bull market that never ends in the stock market? Perhaps, but I say that in jest, to be clear. For Bitcoin, that is why I want to be cautious that's not a fundamental, but from more of an event aspect, because I do fear that we could very easily get a similar reaction to what we got last year. This was consensus right over here, right before our daily total death cross, actually, of which might actually be undone 1 year later. But yeah, right over here, taking Bitcoin all the way down from about 9,000 to the current low at 3,100. So again, it's one of those things. We can see both ways, understand how all these things relate to each other. But of course, until these things are happening, I would not be looking for that move. Now, to put this in perspective, if Bitcoin were to drop down about, 35% from here, we'll just kind of take the median of it. It would put us about our lows, around 35.50, which is actually on the 200 simple moving average on the weekly. And actually, let's just put that out one more time. Let's do it right on over here. And there you go. Yeah, right on over here. 35%, pretty much right smack dab on this white 200 simple moving average, which to me, that is the gatekeeper for trading for new lows. Now, the gatekeeper for talking about new lows is this purple 200 exponential moving average right over here, which Bitcoin spent about 5 months living below in a very aggressive downtrend. So overall, if Bitcoin does break the 200 exponential, which is around 4150-ish area, then I would start to, really start to get apprehensive, and I'd probably take a starter position. I'd probably take a starter position. And of course, this is mental masturbation because it has not happened yet, and it's actually pretty far away from happening, as you can see. And then if we were to get down to the 200 simple, I would be a buyer on the first pass. It's not appropriate to be looking and trading for new lows as a trader. Again, separating opinion and analysis, or analysts or analyzers from traders. It's not appropriate to be taking that trade for new lows, likely looking into the lower 2000s region until the 200 simple is taken out. If that happens, then yes, I throw my whole account fucking short. Even if we break the 200 exponential moving average right over here at about 4150, I'll probably put on some nice starter positions, as it will be quite easy to manage just around that area. But as you can see right now, we are well and far away from that area, and more importantly, we're there. There will be supports higher. We got the weekly 21 exponential coming in right around here, right around 4,600, which likely to bounce things if we do get around there, and we're likely to get a bullish cross on these two moving averages. Granted that Bitcoin doesn't dump below 5,000 in the next 2 or so weeks, I'd say. So again, this is why I really want to be cautious here, just because if this move is going to play out, there's no harm in waiting for that confirmation, because yes, you might not get another $100 or $50 or whatever it might be, but you also don't have to worry about a fucking massive girthy green dildo stuck in your bunghole going so far up your bunghole that it's coming out your mouth hole, which would be very bad and also very embarrassing to go to the doctor with. So with that said, let's get back on over here, and I want to pull up the Trollinger bands, which again, from a higher time frame perspective, say, hey, as long as we're closing above this top Trollinger band on the weekly, I stay long as well. There's no reason to get short until the top Trollinger band until price action actually closes below the top Trollinger band, which is currently around 53.50. Beautiful confluences with that area. Really do like that. So if we were to close this next weekly below that, then hey, yeah, from the Trollinger band perspective, which actually has been getting this pretty damn well for the trending action, I would be looking for a move lower towards 40, low 4,000s, we'll call it, probably towards the 200 exponential on the weekly. So again, that is what's at stake for the end of this weekly, which, by the way, is going to lead into the monthly, which is significantly more important, as we've been speaking about. Monthly right over here, by the way, let me get off this silly Trollinger bands, get onto the exponentials, my beautiful exponentials. We're going to have a chance to close above the 20-minute exponential moving average, which is very important to me. Again, I always have to explain this because there's actually a lot of new people here, of which I want to say welcome and pleasure to meet you. And feel free to chat it up. I love meeting new people. But I should repeat this. When I was a market maker, authorized trader, trading as a professional trader on the floor of New York Stock Exchange, ARCA, I would use this yellow 20-minute exponential moving average to judge if a stock was generally bullish or generally bearish from the monthly time frame. Basically the overall trend. If you're above it, generally bullish. If you're below it, generally bearish. Well, you can see that Bitcoin's flirting around with it right here, right now. We're technically above it right now. It's currently coming in around 52.50, another big area of massive contention. And here's the thing. If Bitcoin closes below it, then yes, that would just be another thing saying, hey, likely looking for a move back down to the lower 4,000s over time. And, perhaps we talk about, lower, if and when it does happen. By the same token, as we do approach the end of this month in the next 5 days, if we do end above this area, I'm looking for a move actually significantly higher, extremely likely into the 6,000s and probably towards 7,000 actually. If I'm giving my straight up opinion, I think it'll actually tag somewhere around, high 6,000s, maybe even 7,000. But I think 62 to 6,300 would be extremely likely if that were to happen, to be extremely clear. And as you can see in 2014, 2015 market cycle, it did do a damn good job of getting it. Bitcoin lost it right over here, then was set all the way onto the dildos of death and decay on its actual capitulation death hole right over here. And then when it regained the 21 exponential, that was the beginning, a beautiful timing of your bull market cycle. Tested the 21 exponential though 1, 2, 3, 4 times before actually breaking it. And this is our first time testing it over here after 6 months of being away from it. So usually the first test does get knocked down. So I would be saying that. Not only that, but going off our monthly Stokes right over here, we're gonna cross them up. Granted that we end price action anywhere above about I'd say 52.50. Anywhere above 52.50, these will cross the upside, which we did have a pretty damn good signal in 2014, 2015. Right? But what about the news? Well, we actually did cross it up right over here in June 2015, but look at where price action was in June 2015. It was right on this dildo right over here, where Bitcoin was marching up to its yellow 20-minute exponential moving average, and at what point what happened? 38% drop down. Fuck! What was that news, man? Well, Jesus Christ. Again, just another confluence signal with what we're looking at on the 3-day jewel. Of course, also on top of that, we actually do have the monthly coming back and retesting the RSI, the first time in a very long time. And do we have something to look at in 2014, 2015 as well that kind of matches up with that? Actually, yes, we do. When Bitcoin kind of came back and retested it right over here in July, you can see it just briefly kind of gave it a little bit of a love tappy tap. What happened with price action? Well, we were marching up right here on July and tested the 21 exponential and then down for that 35% move. that we just spoke about. So again, another few things to be aware of. Of course, though, I want to be very, 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 very direct in saying this. Hey, if Bitcoin closes above this 21 exponential, I will add to my longs and I will be targeting much higher. As that is, that's essentially what I'd be looking for. I do think though, regardless, if we were to close above next month, if we were to confirm above by the close of next month, we probably do come back down and test around the 5250ish area. So it would, again, I'm not even in a hurry to buy right now. By the same token, there's no rush. If you look at the monthly, there's been about 3 trades to make. Short the tweezer top reversal dildos right over here. Short the breakage of the 21 exponential moving average right over here. Long the breakage of the 50 exponential moving average right over here, of which, and I want to point back to this for all the people who have been tuning into this content for the past, at least the past 2 to 3 months. We were looking at this 50 exponential moving average to kind of judge if it's appropriate to still be bearish looking for new lows, or if it's appropriate to be looking for, a retracement. In this case, we actually did end above the 50 exponential on March. That was also the impetus for me holding, again, this position right over here, which opened up the floodgates for much higher. And this is where the monthly really shines, and where you can make trading easy for yourself is on these higher time frames, the daily, the weekly, the monthly. Trading on the lower time frames has been very difficult in Bitcoin land and not very rewarding recently, as the numbers are smaller. But if we do go back to the lower time frames, we should talk about this albeit briefly. But remember, we had this ascending triangle right over here. Measure move was right around 5,700. Did we get up to 5,700? We got up to 5,650. That's close enough. These things don't have to be exact, but it did. It did its job, is what I'm trying to say. We tested it once, tested it twice, rejected both times, coming back down. Now we get to find out if this is going to be reaccumulated or not. This is the real test on the lower times. So again, relating these time frames together with each other, I would imagine that Bitcoin does get reaccumulated here, and we do take out about 5,450 to the upside, you're very likely to see Bitcoin back around 5,600 and march on higher. The monthly is going to close above, and we're going to get all of the moves that we just spoke about for the more bullish case. By the same token, if we break this, if we break these lows of yesterday around 5,350, especially 5,300, that's where I become a lot more bearish. But as you can see, we've seen this a million fucking times. Yes, it is technically a bear flag or a descending triangle, whatever the fuck you want to call it, which implies more bearish nature, just by the name of it. But the thing is, with Bitcoin land, it seems to me that these patterns get painted in for the past year because it's only traders in this game right now. It's not like retail investors anymore. It's just traders, and because traders are all looking at the same thing, well, if you're going to be a market mover trying to generate liquidity for yourselves, what are you going to do? I mean, it's easiest to fake out the pattern traders because the pattern traders are the least sophisticated. No, sorry, I shouldn't say that. There's some great pattern traders out there. I don't know too many of them though, but there are some great ones out there, and I do know a few who I have significant amounts of respect for. But for the most part, most people who are pattern traders have been just going on Investopedia for the past month or two, and they're like, this looks bearish or this looks bullish. That's why your inverted head and shoulders typically don't work out. That's why your bear flags haven't been working out for the past year. And typically what we see is we see a bunch of these wicks, which I refer to as bull wicks, hitting some sort of support, which we see right around here, about 5,350. And then what happens over time? Well, you see a massive spike in volume, and then we work our way up, liquidating all the people who thought that they were geniuses for shorting this area right over here. Now, again, this all goes out the window if we actually do break this area, of course. But, just going off of the past prior experiences, that's kind of what we've seen. Going over here to the 3-hour Stokes, we do see them kind of getting further down. As we're kind of resting on support, this looks to me like a setup for probably a BART. Looking at the hourly Stokes, they're actually headed down right now. So maybe we do have another try down into the 5,350ish area, make a slightly lower low, and then and then do it. Of course, going over here to the 4 hours coming down as well. Let's actually head on to the medium time frames. 8 hours actually coming down significantly, but the medium time frames have not been getting it right. The 6 hour, the 8 hour, and the 10 hour not actually been doing a good job. Here's your 6 hour coming down as well. Here's your 10 hour. Going to likely be coming down. Of course it is. And the 12 hour coming down. 12 hour actually has been getting things well. And you can see more importantly that the 12 hour has support. Well, actually currently where we are right now, but more importantly right here at about 5,300-ish area. So maybe I adjust that down a little bit because, well, is it 53? It's not even 5,300. It's 5,325. This is why I'm saying 5,350 because it's just right in the middle. It's just easier to say. But if we break this area right over here, more importantly, which would have been, which is the current breakout trend line of, of our former ascending triangle, then this turns into a swing failure pattern and likely does inside at the very least move down to about 5150 and probably lower to that because that's going to start to take on all of the other major bearish scenarios that we spoke about on the higher time frames. So understand what the relation is between the lower time frames and the higher time frames, and that's where you can actually maybe front run a little bit of a position. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just sharing with you exactly how I'm going to be doing it. Okay, all right. What else do we have to do? What else should we be looking at? Let's go check out CMEs over here. CMEs, by the way, going to be having expiration on Friday, so that would be tomorrow. And CMEs actually did give up the 200 exponential moving average yesterday. So this to me is actually a fake out. And look at this. We're finding resistance right here. CMEs look more bearish to me. They do look more bearish to me. We do see CMEs hitting the top trend line essentially and then crossing down, Stokes coming down. And we do see CME bearish divergence on the RSI as well. Is that confirmed though? Do we have a local high confirmed here? Did we take out the low of yesterday? We did not. But if the second that CMEs take out 53.75, and they are trading at a little bit of a discount right now, then that'll be considered a local high, and this will be considered a bearish divergence along this way. So, and that's what I'd be saying about that. Yes, the puzzle pieces are starting to get a little bit more aggressive, and that would be a little bit more on the bearish side, to be fair. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly looks to me like we kind of popped up, tested the 50 exponential moving average, got front ran a little bit, just like as we looked at on the lower time frames. This area got front ran, basically, confluent with what we were looking at from the supports of 2018 right over here, and now coming under pressure. We do see weekly Stokes getting way up there, areas that we haven't seen ever in CME history, but of course, CMEs haven't been trading for that long. Weekly RSI, been away from this exponential for a very long time. Let's go to spot exchanges and kind of analyze this for a second. Very rarely do you spend this long of a time away from the exponential. We've been away from it since February. This time over here, it's December to April. Yeah, kind of a similar time frame. Usually we kind of come back and interlay with it a lot more often than that. So again, another thing kind of suggesting a little bit more on the pullback segment. Of course, going over here to the weekly Stokes, we are in that same area that we were in 2017. So just again, another cautionary signal. But hey, like I said, if we do see this thing BART back up, probably coming back up and grinding the 5600-ish area out, at which time I might get a little bit more interested in putting on a short position as Bitcoin kind of grinds this area out. You can see if we put on the drawing tools, more importantly, and scroll out a little bit, this blue box territory is going to be fraught with peril, is what I'm going to say. I like that. I like that term, fraught with peril right over here. So as long, this kind of is the area of overhead liquidity and is basically that next big resistance between, and I have it here about 5,700 to 5,800. So yes, did we get exactly into it? No, but it doesn't need to be exact, man. It doesn't need to be exact. You see the sell pressure, you see the multiple, you see these bear wicks coming in right over here. That's telling us where the resistance is. So close enough is close enough. Again, an artist's eye rather than a scientist's eye, because scientists want to find out like some sort of formula to make work with magic internet monies and trading. I very rarely see that work unless you're getting into like high frequency trading and doing like arbitrage and shit. That's where it can have more of an impact, but still need to have a trader's mind as well. Let's go check out GBTC. GBTC big close down here. Whoa, wow, GBTC. If GBTC is leading, GBTC just told you that we're about to get rejected and pop back down to 52. Wow. Major rejection on GBTC. The question is, though, is this thing leading or not? That's what I struggle with, because it's just been so off center. I think that we're seeing divergence between spot charts and CMEs. Or sorry, not CMEs, GBTCs, because at some point in time we're likely to see, an ETF. I do think probably like a year to a year and a half, we actually do see one. So that's going to greatly diminish the case for something like this. But basically double topping in this area before failing to make a higher high over our November area, our November drop down. That'll be seen as quite fucking bearish. But hey, like I said, there's very specific things that I'm looking for. They all haven't hit just yet. Let's go look at the longs and shorts. We do have, for the first time in a very long time, way more shorts than longs. We have about almost 26,000 open shorts versus 22,000 open longs. Here's the real question, though. How many of them are hedged? 2,500 are hedged. So we have 23 and a quarter open naked shorts versus 22,000 open longs. This is the first time in aeons that we've had more shorts than longs, not aggregate, but naked positions, real positions. This is incredibly interesting to me because this would actually be a more bullish setup. This would be, and this is what I want to see if you're going to actually dig yourself out of a bearish market. Is have way more shorts than longs. That gives you liquidity to actually BART this thing up and get into the 6,000s if you want. On top of that, I do want to check this out as well. Let's put on the Bitcoin COT, as this is going to come into general view again Friday, tomorrow, as that will be closing. We're going to see expiration. Let me just put this on. Come on, baby. Show me the money. Show me how big and thick you can get COTs. I want to know exactly what these professionals are doing. And let me just rearrange these colors. We'll do institutional traders are going to be white. Professional traders are going to be blue. And retailers are going to be yellow, because fuck them. Okay, so white and blue, and yellow. All right, so white is down here. White are short, but they're actually letting go of their short positions, funnily enough. They're actually getting, well, no, they're still pretty short. These are the retailers. They are very long. Retailers are very long. Institutions are on the shorter side. Professionals are also on the shorter side. When was the last time that we saw a setup like this? Well, the last time that I can really find it is right over here in August 2018. What happened in August 2018? Oh, fuck! We had a drop down all the way from 8,400 to 6,000. How big of a drop down was that? Uh-oh. Don't tell me. Was it a 30% drop down? Oh, fuck, man. Did we just find another confluence? I think so. Did we just become best friends? Yeah, my point is that, again, another thing kind of pointing in the more bearish case. Of course, if you're familiar with traditional markets, there's that great saying, sell in May and go away. Of which I don't know if I'd be thinking about it this May. I don't know if I'd be thinking about it this May. Pretty impressive stock market right now. But yeah, we do have a little bit more of a bear setup on these guys. But remember, this takes a while for it to play out. It's unlikely to play out, this second. Let's also bring up this as well. I do want to show this, as we do have, I want to show what everyone's talking. Everyone's talking about the golden cross, right? The golden cross. The golden cross is going to save Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's been a very bad boy, and all he needs is a golden shower to make him really, really happy. Or what's happening right over here. We did get the golden cross, the red 50 and the white 200 simple. So we do have a golden cross, but as we spoke about before with the exponentials, this is even happening further away. Price action is very far away from the cross. That is not a good setup. That is not a good signal. That is what I would consider a bad signal, actually. And I don't even use simple moving average crosses to begin with. I think that they're fucking... I read Investopedia, and the golden cross is very bullish. It's like, yeah, you and a million fucking other people, which are going to likely be used for liquidity as well. The last time that we saw price action this far away from a golden cross, once again, 2014, 2015. Uh-oh, what happened over here? Krown, what happened over here, though? Is that a 40% drop down? Fuck! Again, not good. Not good. That was supposed to be bullish. You motherfucker. So yeah, once again, price action very far away from that. I don't like that setup. It's not a good setup. So yeah, I'm gonna put these guys back on. Let's get these dirty simples away from me. Disgusting. Just kidding. No, there is use for some moving averages. My mentor actually was actually pretty damn good with them. It depends on your style. Not really for my style, but there certainly is use for them. Okay, cool. Okay, got all of that. And yeah, as the golden cross approaches on the exponentials, that would be a significantly more powerful one. Even with price action significantly further away. But here's the thing: it's more hard to get a legitimate cross on exponentials, and even a dump down to about 5,000 would delay this for like another half week to a week, maybe not a week, yeah, but probably about a half week. Okay, cool. So we spoke about all of that. I think I said everything that I want to say about Mr. Bitcoin. Let's go check out the top shitcoins. Mr. Buteral right over here, losing it. Mr. Buteral is bearish. Mr. Buteral wants to come down and tag 157.5. 157.5. Let me see. I mean, this, Yeah, that was a clear rejection of the 10 simple and the 89 yesterday. 2-day Stokes coming down. But I do see that on 2-day Stokes, we do have a trend line forming here. Although that would offer up, that would allow for a lot of damage. That would allow for a lot of damage. What about 3-day? 3-day Stokes, fresh cross down. Same sort of a trend line. As you can see, actually even a little bit, well, taking more of a regression right here. Get off there, you fuck. 3-day RSI losing the exponential, not good. No bearish divergence to be had, however. What about the weekly? Weekly, this is where I struggle with it. I don't. The weekly is not necessarily bearish to me, but the other time frames are. To put it bluntly, the other time frames are. The weekly is. It's on a major support is what it's doing right now. So I have a hard time front running the weekly. However, weekly support all the way down here at about 151.5. Now here's the thing. I do believe that Cardano is kind of doing what we're seeing a lot of the market about to do. And that is something like this. You see a major, massive rally because we're going to have some news, guys. We have a conference. They're going to announce that Cardano is going to be used for fucking smart toilets. And that's really, really good because the world needs that. More toilet paper for everyone. And no, is that Tron? Whatever. You know what I mean. Anyways, we have a massive rally right over here. Get stifled right by the 50 exponential moving average, which actually is what kind of stopping Bitcoin right now on CMEs. As you can see right over here. But anyways, back onto Cardano, back on to the smart toilets. And we do see a clear rejection of this on heavy volume. We see weekly Stokes cross the downside, of which we're seeing a lot of weeklies cross the downside as well on a lot of other majors. We lose the exponential on the weekly as well, getting rejected from the bullish control zone. And now we've lost it looks to me like we're getting rejected by the 10 simple and we're about to lose the yellow 21 exponential. So yes, there is targets, we basically smashed all of these targets and I'm about to have some new lower ones because this is a bear setup. I'd say next target, well, we already fucking hell, man, we already got there. About 1200. What I'd fear is that this is just another lower high. Lower high, lower high, lower high. It's a downtrend. Again, looking at the higher time frames, still in a downtrend. Not fucking good. And we also do have some massive hidden bearish divergence, although this is very far away, so I don't know how applicable it is. But if that bearish divergence is going to play out, or sorry, hidden bearish divergence is going to play out, which I don't put too much weight on hidden bearish divergence, to be honest with you. I don't like the hidden varieties of divergences. They seem to lie a lot more. We'd probably come back down to the 1,000 Satoshi region. So yeah, and this is kind of what we're seeing on a lot of vaults. Mr. Buterol looking like he's kind of setting up for that. What about Mrs. Litecoin? How's the beautiful bitch doing? Sorry, beautiful lady, very highly esteemed lady who deserves the ultimate respect. Looks to me like she wants to have a pullback. Well, we basically hit our first target at around $70. I'd say about $66.5, $67 going to be the next target right around here. Overall, though, weekly Stokes crossing down, weekly RSI, just getting rejected from the more critical zone, but for me, Mrs. Litecoin's likely bottomed. I do look at this as a likely bottom. But does that mean that we can't have a pullback significantly lower? Well, fucking hell, it means that we can definitely have a pullback significantly lower. The only way that I get bearish on Mrs. Litecoin is if we actually start breaking this area right here at about $55. If we break $55 on Mrs. Litecoin, I start to get very apprehensive, perhaps even take a position, although I don't even trade this. If we break the 200 simple at about $47, I take position and I look for a move probably back down into this region, like $34 to $30. Again, do I think that is going to make a new low? Actually, probably not, but I do think that it can come back here, which should be scary. So yeah. Okay, what other top shitcoins do we want to look at? We got BNB cone right over here. Again, look. Oh, I think, yes, we got our target, $21. Okay, good. Hey, beautiful. Perfect. There you go. Fucking technical analysis. Sometimes it works. We've been looking for this for the last 4 days. Finally happening. Having a perfect rally off the 21 simple. And this is a really good response too. Closing even back above all major movement averages the same day. Fucking goddamn, man. CZ. I love you, baby. Daily RSI is, well, this is a bullish RSI, but it is going to be coming down. RSI moving down while price action bounces. Wow. Powerful CZ. Daily Stokes coming down while price action bounces. Powerful. Daily Jewel did give a sell signal, however, but that sell signal happened right over here, right at about $24. We played $24 down to $20, or sorry, $21. I'd be more lenient with it. I would not be bearish on this as long as it's above $21. As long as this thing maintains above $21, this is to be seen as bullish. If it does take out $21 to the downside, then we're going to start to retracing to like the $18 mark and, $16 mark over time. Zcash coming down, as we spoke about yesterday, hit our $63 target, and this one looks like it wants to come down even more. Weekly's going to be looking, weekly support right around $60 even. Bcash, support down around 240-ish area, and I do think that it gets there. Daily just gave this area up. I don't like that setup. Daily Stokes still down. Daily RSI coming down. Tron Cash. Oh my God, did it almost hit our 2.2 cent target? Pretty fucking close. I think that we have another stab down just to fully meet it. Again, very scary, man. Very, very scary. What does the weekly look like? Weekly is really bad. And this has completely destroyed. So over here, you could make the case for Tron putting in a bottoming formation. But with the advent of last week, that was your first warning. That was confirmation that is not going to happen. And now we're seeing continuations. While I do think that 2.2 cent is my next target, I would be looking lower over the longer period of time to about 1.7 cents. But sorry about that. It's goddamn allergies, man. They're destroying me right now. Am I recording? Good. A little bit late for that, huh? Neocash, what's Neocash doing? Same shit. Same shit. Weekly stocks crossing down. This one probably coming back down. Ultimately, over a long period of time to about 880. EOS Cash. What's EOS Cash doing? Hit our first target of about 470. Yeah, 469, 470. Hit our first target, and I do think that this one probably does try to bounce here. I actually do think that this one tries to bounce here and probably moves back up and tests like $5. Although, if this thing gets sold at $5, if $5 gets rejected, this is going to imply much lower, down towards 430. But it's not going to hold. We're going to move down to 377 if $5 gets rejected. But I do think shorter term time frames bounce it up, and then we're going to figure out if that area wants to hold or not. Euro breaking down. Fuck, I should not have opened up a bank account in Europe. Terrible decision, but we've been bearish on this for a long time. Monthly's bearish, weekly's bearish. It's bearish, man. I've had a 110 target for a very long time. I think that this one's likely to get hit pretty damn soon. This is just one massive descending triangle for the past year. Okay. What about Mr. Ripple's nipples? Uh-oh. This is what a lot of coins are about to look like, I think. A rejection of the 21 and then continuations. Really bad. Weekly Stokes. I mean, this one's so weak. And I'm not even a Ripple hater, man. I'm neutral on Ripple. I think by charting standards, it's looked like shit for a very long time, which we've been speaking about. Hitting our 28.5 cent target. Do we take it out, though, is a real question. We do see a little bit of a bounce off right now. It's not until we actually take out 28.5 cents where I become extremely bearish, looking for a move down to like 24 cents. But if I'm being blunt, I do think that happens. But how much longer do we spend within this area? It can be a long time. It can be a long time. But we just broke this trend line right over here, so I would be looking, pressure on for right now. One of the weakest charts in the market. Stellar Cash, getting down to our 10 cent target. Hey, not bad. There you go. Did hit our 10 cent target, but do we bounce up here? Did we already play out the bounce? I would like to see it bounce up to 10.8 cent. That would be nice. But it's kind of similar to Mr. Ripple's nipples. I do think that ultimately we do go lower. 9.29 would be my first target or my next target, and then like 8.9, somewhere down around there in that range. Let's go check out traditional markets really quick. Traditional markets, holy fucking moly. Did we make new highs? No, we did not. We came about almost $1 shy. Close though, damn close. So when I look at something like this, I was looking for a pullback this week. I'm obviously wrong about that. The question is though, where do we close the monthly? As this is going to be the next big piece of the puzzle, the next big piece of the pie. Well, if we close the monthly up here, I have no choice but to be bullish, like looking for new highs. But the monthly still has another 5 days. So monthly Stokes did have a fresh cross up to the upside. I do like that. So overall, we're above all major moving averages. That's going to matter most. We can look at the daily and look at all this bullshit. To me, we just had a bunch of good earnings. Microsoft's going to be leading the market. Cisco looking good as well. Or sorry, what's the fucking semiconductor that I like? I forget. It's one of the semiconductors looked really good as well. That could be the impetus for the market moving higher as well. All the bears going to be looking at this saying, hey, we've had no pullbacks, but as we said before, hey, you had the golden cross right over here, an exponential moving average golden cross. By the way, we've been above all major moving averages, most importantly the yellow 21 for the whole time since. My rule is I'm not bearish on anything that looks like that. Speaking of, let's actually go back to Bitcoin really quick before we wrap this bitch up. And we have the golden cross on the 12-hour delta time frame right over here. And my rule is applicable to this time frame as well. As long as we're above the 21 exponential moving average, I am bullish. And where's the 21 exponential moving average coming in around? Again, that 5,300-ish number. So 53, I've been referring to it as 5350, but it's really like 5325 if you want to get like super, super exact. That is a critical area. If Bitcoin breaks that area, we're not just going to have a move back down to 5,000. It's likely to go a lot lower just because it's going to have implications with all the other higher timeframes that we looked at, and so that would be my initial warning signal for that. Until then though, until that happens, I'd still be, I'm still holding that long and I'm happy to hold that long. But second that area gets taken out, very bearish to me. Very, very bearish. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for today. Once again, want to thank you for joining in. Want to say it's an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And of course, I'll be back on later with some more live stream action. Looking forward to that. And if not, if I don't see you there, well, hey, I want to wish you well and see you soon.